everyone. Dave, that was great. Good job. My name's Ian McKay. I'm here today to talk about my dear friend Dennis. Or, as some would call him, Bummer. Why Bummer? Well, it came from Bank Bum. Why Bank Bum? We had to call each other something, and Dennis just didn't work. Sorry, Lonnie. I want to thank the family for allowing me to do this tribute to a great friend of mine. My deepest condolences to Nicola, Lonnie, Eileen, Shelley, Caitlin, Delane, Austin, Taylor, and the rest of the extended family. I'm heartbroken for you all. For others who have chosen to attend in person, and for those on live stream, welcome. So let's start talking about the jersey. There's a couple of them up here, and another one there. As everyone may or may not be aware, Dennis was a Boston Bruins fan. I, on the other hand, a Buffalo Sabres fan. Throughout the years, our teams had their battles, and yes, I lost the majority of them. Kind of comes with being a Sabres fan. We bet several times on games, and I actually still have a lot of outstanding debts with Dennis right now. But one thing we never put in those bets was the loser would wear the other team's jersey. I think deep down, neither of us could come to grips with having to wear each other's jerseys, so we just didn't want to talk about it. Dennis would have never expected me to be wearing a Bruins jersey, and quite honestly, I'm not sure I would have ever expected it. But today, I felt no regrets in wearing it. Go Bruins. So I've known Dennis for 50 plus years. Seems like a lifetime, but it really isn't. We were really close friends growing up, and you might even say we were brothers from other mothers. I'd like to say exactly how we met, but I don't really know. It was so long ago. All I know is the time we met, it lasted forever. It was a bond that might have bent a few times, but never broke. Dennis was proud of his GP roots. He had a lot of close-knit friends, many in the audience and on live stream today. Growing up in GP was the best experience one could hope for. There were so many memories of our childhood and how we grew into men. Well, some would probably argue we never got there. I know both our wives would always look at the stupid things that we did and roll their eyes stating those GP boys. It was almost like a badge of honor to us. So the early years of Dennis were interesting. I'm going to contradict you here, Dave. For those of you in the audience who may not have known Dennis in those years, he had a bit of a temper. He really went from one side of the pendulum to the other over the years. This would be hard to believe for some, but it's true. One time, a few of us were playing football at the park. Dennis walked up with a big bag of nachos. Now, Dennis wasn't big on sharing in those days. So his first words were, "Don't touch my nachos," when he arrived. Well, we heard, "Who wants a nacho?" A friend of ours decided to test this theory. So when he thought Dennis wasn't looking, he took a nacho. Not a handful, just one nacho. Well, Dennis snaps. He whipped out his pocket knife that he happened to be carrying with him, and he chased us over to the play center, where we all climbed on top for protection. With his nachos in hands, he proceeded to tell us how he was going to knife us all. Now, to put things in perspective, this is a pocket knife with a rounded end, about 2 inches long. I'm not even sure that thing could have pierced skin. On any account, we talked Dennis out of it. In the end, out of killing us, in the end, he shared a nacho, one nacho, with each of us. All was good. Moral of the story, don't touch Denny's nachos. In another incident, Dennis and another friend of ours, Kaz, both had shiny new blue bikes. They came over to my place, and beside my place was a field. Dennis parked his bike in the field and put the kickstand down. Well, as you can imagine, how well a kickstand is going to work on soft dirt. Next thing we know is the bike is down. Dennis's brand new bike laying in a heap. Well, Kaz happened to be standing next to it, and it must have been him that pushed it over. Or at least that's what Dennis thought. Well, Dennis snaps again. He proceeds to start yelling at Kaz. Even though Kaz's bike is right there, Dennis goes over and picks up his own bike and tosses it. Not only did he do this once, he did it 4 more times around the field. Each time explaining to Kaz how he had knocked over his bike. Well, needless to say, his new bike was broken in by this point. The love of golf started when Dennis was 13. Unfortunately, he only had access to right-handed clubs, my mom's, at the time. So he used them to practice with. We'd go to an empty field by his house and hit balls back and forth for hours. It wasn't until later he figured out he was a lefty. To this day, though, I'm not sure switching left-handed clubs really helped his game. You might have wanted to stick with the rights. The beauty of GP in the summer is the amount of daylight you would get. We would head to the golf course with a group of friends in the early morning, and on several occasions play 36 to 54 holes. It's a lot of golf. At the end of each round, each 18 holes, it was traditional to have fries and gravy at the clubhouse. One day, Denny was feeling overly confident and challenged me to a golf round for money. Things just got interesting. I took him up on the challenge, and away we went. The rules were, if you won the hole, you won the money. If nobody won the hole, you carried over. Well, to this day, I'm not sure how the math all worked on this, but at the end of the round, he owed me $840. Not bad days, were when you're 15. So at 15, this obviously wasn't pocket change for my buddy Denny. Hence, I never did see my $840, but I enjoyed the win anyways. Dennis had a successful hockey career. He was no Johnny Busick, but he could handle his own. I think if you asked him, one of his greatest accomplishments was provincials when we were all playing bantam together. In one of the round-robin games, he managed to score 3 goals, a hat trick. My memory was 5 goals, but Kaz, our statistician in the group, corrected me and it was 3 goals. So we're going with 3 goals. And in the final, he got a helper to lead our team on to victory. We ended up winning provincials that year, which was a great accomplishment for a team from GP. The bus ride home was the best ever. Lots of singing and fun, and maybe a few spirits. Dennis's low period in hockey was probably the year he broke his arm. I think we were manning when it happened. Unfortunately, the doctor who set his arm didn't do it right. So once we got back to GP, he had to get it broken again and have a plate put in it. This plate became a very convenient tool of his over time, since any time his golf wasn't going well, it was the plate that was bugging him. Always looking for strokes, that boy. Well, at the same time Dennis started playing golf, he also took up skiing. Skiing came natural to Dennis. He was very good at it. One year, we were 18 at the time, we took a trip to Big Mountain in Montana with some friends and family. It was a 5-day ski trip in March. Perfect time to ski. On the first day we were exploring the hill, we came across a ski bowl. As we sat there and watched, we seen skiers shoot down the bowl, up the other side, hit a launching pad, fly through the trees, land on the other side. Dennis thought this was fantastic. So we decided to head down the hill, go find some liquid encouragement at the local watering hole before taking this on. We went back up the hill afterwards and decided to take a few more runs before going back to the bowl. Well, unfortunately, I hit a tree. We had new plans. We were heading to the hospital for x-rays. That was the end of day 1. So on day 2, we headed back up the mountain and over to the bowl again. We watched other skiers ski down and take the jump. I could tell Dennis was in calculation mode at this point. He was trying to figure out speed and launch trajectory. Once Dennis had done all the math, he was ready to go. The crowd was all lined up to see Eddie the Eagle fly. Off he goes, down the slope, gathering up speed, up the other side, off the jump, and bam. Things went horribly wrong. Down he goes. We ski down to check on him. We get to the landing area, it's like a bomb had gone off. Ski poles, skis, sunglasses, gloves, all strewn along the hill. We go to Dennis, who was clearly a little dazed. Some would call it a concussion in this day and era. Back then, we would say he got his bell rung. We gather up his things, help him down the hill. Dennis is clearly not himself at this point. So in true buddy fashion, I need to fix him. Off to the beer stew we go for a few medical pints. That was day 2 in the books. I can't walk, Dennis can't talk. On day 3, Dennis is a new man and ready to go. Dennis has always had strong will, and when he wants to do something, he's going to do it. He headed back up the hill to the bowl. We dig in to watch others go again. Dennis is watching each person and doing mass calculations in his head. After a while watching people go, Dennis gives us a thumbs up. He's going. He gets into the starter chute. Crowds line up along the side. He goes down the bowl, up the other side, off the jump, and soars into the mountain sky, landing gracefully on the other side. He did it. He conquered the beast. I phoned down to cancel the ambulance, and we all skied down to toast a pint to his accomplishments. Where there's a will, there's a way with Denny. Dennis brought Nicola into our lives in 2006. He was living with us at the time, and we kind of thought something was up. He was supposed to be babysitting our newly born twins, but I'm not sure that was the focus. I think Nick was more the focus. He finally decided it was time for us to meet Nicola. They came over to our house, and we were sitting, drinking on the driveway, enjoying the day. They drove up to our house. Nicola leaped out, and her and Angie immediately recognized each other. Turns out Angie was her banker at one point in time. Small world. Our couple relationship began at this point, and it grew over the years. It was interesting though, when they had gotten to the point that they could holiday without kids, which is freedom for a lot of parents. They still holidayed with us and our kids. Our kids really appreciated being around them, and the Banketts always treated them well. One of the favorite places our kids liked to go was Dennis and Nicola's place in Montana. Dennis and Nicola loved Montana. Pre-COVID, they spent a lot of time in Eureka area. They started with a holiday trailer in a local campsite. Then they bought some land, moved the trailer over there. They eventually built a house and property to replace the trailer. They met a lot of great Montana friends along the way. They also invited a lot of friends down to their place to share their love of the area. Having been there, it was truly a great place to visit. One of the fondest memories I had was every July 1st to 4th that we were down there, we'd buy fireworks. Our kids loved setting them off. We'd set up in the driveway of their place and start firing. Dennis would be down by the trees with a garden hose, wetting everything down for fear of starting a fire. I never had the heart to tell him, but I'm not sure that helped anything in the end, but whatever. He had a beer and he was happy, and we never started a fire, so who knows. Unfortunately, COVID came along and it made things difficult for getting to the property. The decision was made to sell the property. I know it was a hard decision for both of them, but the right one at the time. This past summer, my wife Angie and myself joined the Banketts on a trip to Montana. We rented a cabin to stay in and did some golf. We also spent time at the local radio with Montana friends, or rodeo, with their Montana friends. Had a great time. We were only there a few days, but I could tell Dennis missed being there, and I could see why. It was truly a special place for him and Nick. So into the working years. Dennis and I worked together on a surveying crew after we graduated from high school and pre-post-secondary. We had the best crew to work on. We were favored by our boss because our crew chief was the goalie of our beer league team, and Dennis and I were the star forwards, of course. So anytime we had a game, we got the preferred jobs, which drove all the other crews crazy. On one occasion, we were staying at Eaglesham Hotel, a place north of GP. Not quite the Ritz. Well, far from it. We would survey throughout the day, but there wasn't a lot we could do at night other than drink beer. Dennis had brought his television box, which was a gaming console of the day, similar to an Xbox today. We went to connect it up to the TV, and we quickly noticed a problem. It didn't have the right inputs on it. Dennis being Dennis said, screw it, we're going to rip it apart. So we proceeded to open the back of the TV and began working on figuring out how to get the Intellivision to work. It took a bit of time and beer, but we got it going. Unfortunately, I don't think we ever got the TV back together the way we found it. We had extra parts for some reason, I don't know. Recently, Dennis was at home in GP, and Eileen and Lonnie and I were just talking about this actually, in GP, and was looking to the storage area of the old house. Lo and behold, there was the Intellivision box. He sent me a text because he was just so proud of what he just found. He quickly gathered it up, hauled it back to Calgary. He told me he needed help getting the TV get the TV in his house off the wall so he could connect up the Intellivision. I guess he needed my skills and expertise from the Eaglesham days. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to complete that installation, but I know we would have got it going, or at least Dennis would have. While working on the survey crew, we spent a lot of time outdoors enjoying nature, and we got to spend a lot of time together. It was a perfect job being able to work every day with such a great friend. I'm wondering if some of the outdoor experience translated into why you like Montana so much. Dennis has met a lot of people over the years, obviously, people in this room, and impacted many of them in ways you never would have known. In the Friends TV show, they had a character called Fun Bobby. Dennis was our fun bummer. He met many people through activities and work. He was always the host with the most. He loved to cook for people and was damn good at it. His positive attitude was always welcomed by others, and I think that is why they cling to him. There weren't many places that Dennis went they didn't know someone. His new golf simulator has kept him busy with constant tweaks. He loved that machine. He was always so proud when he found something new on it. Couldn't wait to get the boys out, test it out. There was always beer in the fridge, and birdie juice on standby. When I got married to my wife Angie in 98, Dennis was my best man. As part of the evening, it was time for the groom and bride to say something about one another. I have never been a great speechwriter, and when I'm working off script, I'm even worse. I was saying my part to my lovely bride in only the way a GP boy could do it. And after saying all the sweet things that I did, I ended off saying, all the best to you in the future. well, as you can appreciate, that went over like a lead balloon. I should have quit. Anyways, I believe Wade, a friend of Dennis's, used to be mine, yelled out, "You put that in my yearbook." Dennis never let me live that down and reminded me of it on several occasions. So as I stand here today to say goodbye for now to my friend, the best way I know how to do it is to say, all the best to you in the future. Good buddy, we'll meet again someday. Go Bruins.
Thank you for joining us here today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dennis's sister. For those of you that do know me, know how many times I've corrected that to say I'm Shelley and Dennis is my brother. Right now, in front of you today, I'm so proud to be known as Dennis's sister. He was a great brother. He worried about me on the streets of Calgary and initiated the purchase of my first cell phone. You know,